Hey, everybody. Welcome into another episode of Corn Culture. Now, if you're watching the video podcast, the video version, clearly you're going to see, you're probably thinking to yourself, Tanner, where are you? Okay, you guys are not going to believe this. I'm in a treehouse right now. Say, what? Yes, I'm in a treehouse. Again, I'm going to put up some pictures on the screen for you to look at, but that's just the first thing I'm talking about. I also have the second question you're asking yourself, I know, is who is the handsome guy next to you? Well, it's none other than Dawson Schrader, right? Schrader?
Yes, sir.
That's how.
Yep.
I should probably know. This whole time, I've been working with his father for a couple years in our real estate jobs, and his father's been gatekeeping him. He's been keeping him a secret. No, I'm just joking. Dawson, I want to get you introduced here, but there's so much to talk about. There's so much that you do. So just give me a brief overview of your background. Where are you from? What school did you go to? And what do you do for work right now?
Yeah. Okay. I'm Dawson Schrader. I grew up just south of Lincoln, Nebraska, near Roca. So that's where we're at right now. We're sitting in a treehouse that my dad, Lonnie, previously mentioned, built for us when we were kids. Me and my brother, my little brother's a mechanical engineer. He drew plans for a treehouse, and Dad was like, let's make something. So that's where we're sitting right now. We're sitting in a treehouse on the farm where my family's been for 5 generations. My kids are the 6th generation out here. So I grew up out here on the farm. We moved out here when I was 10, I believe. And I went to Lincoln Christian in 6th grade. Before that, I was homeschooled. And then after high school, I decided not to go to college. I opened a coffee shop.
What was it called?
It was called Vena Amoris.
What does that mean?
It means vein of love. So,
Ooh.
yeah, you know, it was out on West O Street. My parents had a gas station, and so
That's right.
It was in the gas station.
Uh-huh.
Casey's had built or was building across the street from us, and my dad was like, "Hey, do you have any business ideas you want to try out before Casey's wipes out the gas station?" Essentially. So the coffee shop was the idea between me and my now wife, Annalise, and it means vein of love. We are very in love.
Ooh, that's good. You should
yeah.
be in love with your spouse. It's probably the most important thing in a marriage. You gotta be in love with the spouse. Tell me.
Helps a lot. It helps a lot.
I want to know, did you have a signature drink there?
We did. We had a charcoal latte.
Tell me about
Yeah,
that.
so
Interesting.
we had activated charcoal.
Okay.
That we would put in the latte, and basically it helps, like, it's a detox thing. So people come in on Saturday morning.
And did you work there typically? Like, were you
Yeah.
working most of the shifts?
Yeah, me and my wife. So I was like running the gas station that year. It was the last year my family also farmed at the time. So it was the last year we were farming. And then I was running the gas station, and I would go pick up my then fiance from her parents' house. We started dating young. We got married at 18 and 21. But so I'd go pick her up. We'd go open the coffee shop. I guess she was 18 at the time. And so we would run the coffee shop and gas station side by side. She would be doing the espresso. I would be running the cash register, selling cigarettes and all that jazz. And yeah, it was a very diverse work environment.
Some people start their day with espresso. Other people start their day with cigarettes. But it just to get you woken up. And I will say that if you want to run a retail business, you do have to work a lot of the shifts yourself. It's very difficult. What I've come to learn is probably the highest expense is typically wages, is payroll. So it makes it a lot easier when you can work some of the shifts. I can speak to that.
Yeah, you find a person that'll work for free and co-found it for you, or you know, you marry somebody who can make work with you. That's helpful.
When you get married, it's for rich or for poor, or you know, and sometimes that means working for free. And
oftentimes I've found you have a creative spouse. And
yes, my wife's an art teacher and stuff. And if I could tell you the amount of time that I've helped design that art room, her art classroom, where we have brought in a lot of furniture. And if you guys don't know this, one medium of art is clay. You mold clay. Now that's got to be the most heavy thing known to mankind. These blocks of clay are like 30 pounds a piece. And anyway, don't get me started on art and teaching and stuff, but I could talk about it for a long time. So anyway, you started the coffee shop, and then what happens sometimes, Casey's, they're a big gas station, and so that unfortunately probably took a toll, and then you guys closed down the gas station and the coffee shop. And then what next?
Yeah, so then I was recently married. We closed the coffee shop the night before we said our vows.
Okay.
Because it couldn't pay the bills. So that's essential.
Yep.
You got to be able to pay the bills.
I know.
Unfortunately. So then after that, I worked for a family friend at a company called Arise, and I worked in the warehouse, packed boxes.
Okay.
And then that was a stint, short. After that experience, I laid wood floors with my father-in-law. He has a flooring business, Classic Wood Floors. He's been doing it for...
Look it up, Classic Wood Floors.
Yeah, we'll have to call him for a sponsorship.
Yes, sponsor this episode.
So I did that for a few months when I was looking for a job, and then I became an electrician. So I was an electrician apprentice for 2.5 years.
Did you like that?
I did, yeah. I worked with my cousin. He was my best friend growing up. So going to work was fun.
Good.
If you work with people you love.
Right. It makes any job a lot better. And even if you have the best job in the world, but have people that are difficult to work with, it's not fun sometimes.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. So then I did that until COVID. And during that time, like everybody's hours were getting messed up and all that. So basically, I started looking for another job, maybe an stay being an electrician's apprentice, or maybe doing anything. So I told my dad he's going to be a recurring theme. He's an awesome
You
guy.
got to meet Lonnie someday.
Yeah.
Legend.
He'll have to be on the podcast.
Yes, I need to get him on the pod.
But so I told my dad, I was like, hey, go to your life group, ask all the old dudes there if anybody knows of a job opening. I'm willing to do anything. I can learn. I like learning. So just let me know. So he went to his life group that Tuesday, I think, gave my speech for me. He's a pretty good salesman. He must have sold me pretty well, because I had the next Friday that week, I had a meeting with a guy named Mike Sheffert, and he did not have a job for me, but he knows a lot of people, and he said, I wanted to meet you, see what I think you would like to do, because your dad, like, it doesn't seem like you even know what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And Mike was like, I think you should be a financial advisor. I didn't go to school for it. So Mike introduced me to 3 guys, and I called them on my lunch breaks at the electrical job that the next 3, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Kind of skipped like the application interview process. All of them were at home at the time. One of them had COVID. He was sitting on his couch in his basement, and they're like, yeah, we don't even know what it means to be a financial advisor right now, so we're not hiring, but we'll keep you in mind.
Yeah, it was probably a difficult time to predict what was going to happen, Yeah, interesting.
It was at the heavy COVID time. It was everyone was very unsure. By the Lord's provision, like a week later, Mike shot me a text and he said, hey, the guy that I have working for me in my agency right now just got offered a promotion. He's taking it in 2 weeks, so I'm going to have an open position if you want to come work with me.
That works.
Yeah. The Lord opened that door.
Yes.
So I was like, heck yeah. So put in my 2 weeks at work that Monday at the electrical job, started studying for my insurance license. So I was doing, my 40 hours a week at the electrical job. I was doing about 40 hours a week study for the insurance licensure. Mm-hmm. And I passed my licensing exam on Saturday, and I started on Monday as an insurance agent. Heck yeah, 2 weeks later. So I did that for 3 years. I was an insurance agent.
Is that what is that like? Is that easy, hard? I mean, we all know multiple insurance agents, but what's the day-to-day look like?
Yeah. I think the hard part for me is that it's very transactional. Mm-hmm. So it was my first sales job, really, and then it was difficult for me to be like just competing on price with no control over it.
Sure.
Instead of being, you can sell yourself as an insurance agent, and there's validity to that, but at the end of the day, like whatever company you work for, whatever number their computer spits out, that's what you get to offer your client. So you can't, there's not very much flexibility. I'd say that was the hard part. People get frustrated with that dynamic, which is understandable on both sides, like the agent and the customer. And then I think the part that was like easy is it's actually not a complex job.
Okay.
For the same reason, like you put info into
the data in.
It spits out a thing. Can't
mess it up.
I mean, you shouldn't be able to mess it. People do mess it up. But
I can imagine they do.
It's not difficult. Yeah, I did that. I think when the opportunity came up to do something else, I jumped at it because insurance wasn't really itching that part of me that wanted deep relationships and like actual problem solving with people. You're just like I said, you're plugging in numbers and you're helping somebody solve a problem in their world, but there's not a strategic component to it or anything like that.
Right.
So, so a few years in insurance, Mike, while I was running his insurance agency, I was able to run that for him. So I didn't really, started out talking to him once a week and then once a month. And then it would be like, only if I needed something, I'd give him a call, which was very seldom. The relationship with Mike developed into a mentorship relationship. And so I missed like being able to actually talk with him more frequently. So he kept telling me about, okay, well, he was doing the finance role at a startup in town called Stala, and it was really small. So it's like a restroom trailer company. So like you could think like fancy porta potties essentially.
Right. I've seen when places have to do a big remodel and they'll have the trailers out there.
Heck yeah. Yeah. So he was doing that, and it was small. When he started, it was like the first inklings of, hey, we might need somebody focused on finance, and Mike's a really analytical guy. And so he started working with Grant. Grant actually worked with him at the insurance office before. That's how they connected. And so that business over the 3 years I was running the insurance agency had scaled quite a bit. And Mike was the CFO, and he started having other businesses in town come to him and be like, yo, can you help us with the finances?
Yep.
Like they have the same issue that Grant was having, where it's like, okay, I have a scaling business and I don't understand why, maybe my P&L says I'm profitable, but my bank account is not at the number it should be to be able to do payroll on Friday.
Right.
And so you start looking at that. And if you're not a finance guy, it's hard to tell that story and understand what's happening with the numbers. So Mike started doing fractional CFO work. He brought on 2 clients, and that would have been 24, I think. Anyway, my year could be off by one, but 2024-ish. And those 2 clients, Mike was able to really help them turn their business around. And so then it was a 3rd and 4th, and it started like a lot of local businesses started hearing just, hey, Mike can help you with this.
He can help you, yeah.
And so Mike, he asked me, do you want to come do this business with me? At the time, it was called 1610 Solutions. So Luke 1610, if you could be faithful with little, you can also be faithful with much. So trusted with little, trusted with much. So stewardship. That was
probably a pretty big leap of faith. This is kind of a new company, a new thing and stuff. And did you have like a guaranteed salary or anything? Or it was just like, hopefully we get enough business to make it worth your while, I guess.
Yeah. So I have the advantage of I've set my life up in such a way that I have low expenses. I've done that on purpose so I can say yes to like business opportunities. And then also working with Mike, I was pretty confident that, either there would be work for me to do in the insurance job, or he would know somebody if 1610 didn't work out, he would know somebody I could go get a job with.
Right.
So I was more, excited about the learning opportunity. And so I jumped into that. No experience in finance at all.
Okay.
One of his clients needed a bookkeeper and was willing to take a chance on me. So that's Carlson Projects. So that's one of my main things I do right now.
Okay.
Carlson Projects, they remodel and build luxury homes here in Lincoln. Another shout out. That's 2 sponsorships.
2 sponsors. We have the sponsorship line is growing a lot, so you better get in early while we have discount pricing on the sponsorships. I guess.
If I talk too long, that's what we need. We need a sponsored.
I know we need to. I've been, my family has a couple of businesses, and I keep giving them like sponsorships. I probably shouldn't say this to the audience, but they haven't really paid for the sponsorships, but I have been giving them. So I don't know if someday I'm just hoping if Red Bull picks me up or something big like that, and then it'll be all right.
It'll all work out in the end, right?
Yes. Yeah. Eventually, we just I gotta take that leap of faith, and corn culture is gonna be up on the podcast list, I guess.
Heck yeah. Okay, so I'll skip a little bit ahead, but the Lord worked in finance. It ended up 1610. We renamed it to Finance Catalyst.
Okay.
Brought on a few partners, so now there's 4 of us all working together. 4 owners actually, and we have 2 staff members that are doing fractional finance for businesses. So we just help them understand the numbers behind their business and help them steward well. That's kind of our mission at Finance Catalyst. And so that's what I do day to day. I help businesses understand their finances. And then I mentioned Carlson Projects, but that's where I spend the majority of my time probably. That'd be like the core client for me. And then I also help with some of their marketing stuff. So really interested in AI. So I've developed some AI
Okay.
systems around marketing, which has been fun for me. But
And most of that's done right here in this treehouse.
heck yeah.
Yeah, this is where it all goes down. What there's a lot of huge businesses that started in garages and stuff. Well, this treehouse is way cooler though, but it's gonna blow
This is
up.
going to be the garage of
Yes.
whatever businesses get built here.
Yes,
So
we
yeah,
don't
so one of my dreams, like this is fun sitting down with you, but you can see the pad of paper if you're watching on the video. This is one of my dreams, is that eventually this treehouse turns into a space where people can come and ideate businesses, and like
Sure.
like the instead of a like piece of paper, there'll probably be a whiteboard, but it'd be super fun if guys are coming here and like using the space to like do that first seed thought,
Yes.
and like, how are we going to get this business off the ground?
The conception of the
Heck
business.
yeah. The
Yes.
conception, and like whiteboard and everything, and who's going to do this and that, and then this can be like the space to host those things, and maybe like a book club or something. I have a
Yeah, there's gonna be like
few
little
ideas like that
little pins and strings going all over the place, and it's like trying to connect
all
the
over
dots,
the room,
and then
Heck
like
yeah.
big circles of like red ink. Like we found it. We found it.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. So that's what you do, and how many hours a week is that? Quite a few.
Yeah.
Just how much ever it takes?
I don't actually know.
Just
That's
how
a
much it
great
takes.
question.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
I love it. I love working with businesses.
Good.
So the other day, back to where we are. The other day, it was beautiful outside. I love to read.
Yeah.
I've been sharing a little bit about what I'm reading on my social medias,
Yes.
and so I had taken my wooden chair that we're sitting on. I'd taken it out in the woods, set up my camera, and then I got a phone call from one of my clients. They become friends. You're
Right.
working with them, launching their business. So we started talking, and anyway, I ended up sitting out there for 3 hours on my chair, just like talking to these guys, just different businesses. Ended up taking a walk back through the woods and back, and where we are is actually also home to Camp Sunshine. You wanted me to talk a little bit about that.
How many acres are we on approximately? Do you know?
Like a couple hundred.
Couple hundred.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because you got, and your whole family, the multiple houses on this. Just describe the whole layout here.
Yeah. So my grandpa grew up here. His grandparents were here. So there's an old farmhouse on the south corner of the property. That's where Grandpa grew up. So he tells his story. It's pretty awesome. He's got a lot of stories out here. But one of the stories is when they first put a bathroom with running water into the farmhouse. And great grandma Schrader made some remark about how you used to go out to go to the bathroom and come in to eat. But now you come in to go to the bathroom and you go out to eat at a restaurant.
Yeah.
And that was like a paradigm shift for her. So we don't think about that kind of stuff now.
Things have changed.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. So that old farmhouse still exists.
Okay.
But the farmstead there with the barn and the buildings so they used to milk cows in that barn up there. That has turned into the home base for Camp Sunshine.
Okay.
So that's a Christian day camp. They had so this is going to be their 20th summer.
Ooh,
This year,
big milestone.
year. Yes, and they have a bunch of kids from all over the world, but mostly Lincoln. They come get dropped off in the morning, spend the day out here, play in the woods. They cook over a fire, build forts in the woods, and then also there's a pool and all the camp stuff. So they do that instead of sitting at home on their iPads.
Good.
And yeah. So that ministry is ran by my aunt and uncle, Jeff and Trisha Kaiser. And they also have their house out here. So we've got the old farmhouse, Jeff and Trisha's house. Okay.
Keep track of this.
Yeah.
He's going to keep going.
I'm keeping going. So then I had mentioned Papa. That's what he's called. So Daryl is his name, but
I call my Papa too, though.
Heck yeah.
I don't call him by his name, Keith. I say, hey, what's up, Papa?
Papa and Nana's house is also out here. So Papa and Nana have been the big support for all the things that, like when Jeff and Trisha had the idea to bring camp out here, Papa and Nana backed that and helped support them in order to start getting things off the ground. Papa and Nana live out here. So their house is also on the south side. If you come more where we are sitting right now is kind of central to the property, I suppose. And we are probably like 100 yards from my parents' house where I grew up. So my dad, aforementioned, and his wife, Brenna, live out here. And then I have a little sister that's still in high school. that lives with them, and then also my sister who works at Berean. Her and her husband work at Berean, but they live in the apartment in my parents' basement.
Yes. I got the full tour from Lonnie. He gave me the full tour of this. There's a complete apartment in the basement. And for all you real estate people, this is kind of interesting. This guy has a garage and then a garage under the garage. He's got a 2-level garage. It is one of the coolest things ever. But yeah, full apartment down there. It's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And so my grandparents, Nan and Papa, also have the same thing under their main floor.
Wow.
Without the double garage, but also an apartment. And so that's where me and my wife and our 2 kids live. And then there will be, Lord willing, another house built out here in the next year or 2. Okay. And that's going to be me and my wife. We're going to build a house out here on the property. So it's a little bit of a family compound.
And then maybe me. I'll build a house too. No, it's really cool out here. You truly, just a quick shout out to Camp Sunshine and stuff. Like, you guys got to check it out. If you have kids, they have social media, they have a website, so which I'll put in the description, and I'll mention the links and stuff. You got to check it out. The property is amazing. I know the camp has a pool, right?
Yep.
A huge gym.
Yep.
Obviously, hundreds of acres of woods.
Yep.
What else am I missing?
Yeah, well, I think like there's obviously like a ton of other things.
Yes.
That camp has, but I think the biggest, people don't realize the why behind camp and the way that Jeff and Trisha have set it up. Mm-hmm. So it's just very intentional. Like the way that the counselors interact with the kids.
Sure.
The leader of the group, called the counselor, is actually involved in all of the activities. So it's not like they're sending the kid off to go swim.
No, they actually do it.
Yeah, and then that lets these groups over the course of the week actually develop healthy relationships between the kids, like stop bullying from happening, that kind of thing. So I think, yeah, Camp Sunshine has, there's, like I mentioned, cooking over the fire. They have archery. They have a bunch of really cool stuff. But that philosophy of how they do the leadership development and then also manage those groups of kids to make sure that everybody has a healthy experience, sure. I think that's the biggest thing if you were missing something.
Right. So, and I think it's interesting because I think you'd agree that that's something that kids desperately need today. I mean, it's kind of ironic that so many of the kids are connected all over the world on the internet, right?
Yeah.
But they're not connected like real kids. You know, they spend all this time on the iPad, the video game, or they're just at home. And, you know, what's been missing so much is face-to-face, is physical interaction, like actually doing things, having fun. Like, I think what most people would say is being a kid. You know, you got to be a kid. And, you know, I can think about the kids that I grew up with and stuff. And, you know, it's just, I'm so grateful for those experiences. I think, how old are you?
28.
28. I'm 27. So we're approximately the same age.
Yeah.
So I remember the internet and the social media was just on the tail end of kind of like when I was like 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. And I look back on the kids these days and I feel kind of sad. You know, I feel kind of sympathetic, kind of that they are, it's just the way of life. Everyone's kind of really connected and to the screens and stuff. And everyone's making a podcast in these days.
Seriously.
But, you know, I just know I have like younger family members or younger students that my sister knows. My sister's 16 and it's just different. It's just different lifestyle and stuff. And I do think that that's a large part of why we have all these issues with mental health or with being down on yourself. And so I'm glad that what I was going to ask you too was how much has Camp Sunshine grown? Where did it start off and where are we today?
Yeah. So 20 years ago. So I was one of the first campers, and I should probably know it was one group of us, all family really and friends, as you'd imagine.
Yeah.
And maybe like 15 kids in that group. And now they had 4,500 camp experiences this summer.
Wow.
And they've got 3 locations now. So here we have this one at the home farm where we're sitting now, Camp Sunshine.
Okay.
And then there's one that's also a Roca address, a little bit down the road, and it's still a day camp, but it's for the older kids. And that one's called Camp Shiloh.
Okay.
And then there's one out in Firth that's an overnight camp. So they've got like a high ropes course and a pond with a blob and like all that good stuff out there. And that one's called Camp Solaris.
And But the same organization, same
Yeah.
administration is in
Yep.
charge of all these. Yeah.
Yep. So 3 different locations for Camp Sunshine. They have different names for the campuses, but
And so after you purchased additional land and put those camps there.
yeah. Or in the case of, this is a little bit out of my wheelhouse. You should talk to Jeff and Tricia.
I'll have to
but
get Jeff
yeah,
on here too.
Yeah. But the Lord provided the opportunity to buy one of the properties, and I believe that one of them was donated to Camp.
Wow. That's amazing. I didn't know that there was other locations as well. And what was the future to look like? Just keep growing? I mean, they're just going to keep growing the camps?
Yeah,
Lord
Jeff
willing?
has amazing, very aspirational goals for camp, which I think is a great thing as a leader of an organization to be shooting high. So I don't like expansion. Yeah. As
you
the
just
Lord,
don't even
as
know.
the Lord
Yeah.
provides. So that is the goal. They have a camp in Mexico that they run once a week
Wow.
at Camp Sunshine, Mexico. And then they also have one in Africa that they
Wow.
are operating. So
That's amazing. I didn't know that either.
yeah.
That is amazing. And it's funny, as I asked the question, I'm thinking, well, what does the future look like? Well, more than likely, and this is just how God works, is you have no idea. You can have a plan, and it could be so much bigger and better, and you just don't even know about what's happening. And that's why I heard this quote in church the other day, and I loved it. And it's, pray like everything depends on God, and work like everything depends on you. So just do your best with your hands and your mind, and just the Lord will provide opportunities and things for you. So
Yeah, dude. I was on this Bible study yesterday, and they were talking a lot. It's a group of business owners and leaders, and they were talking about, as a guest pastor, he was just reminding everybody that the Lord has plans for you.
Yeah.
And he will work everything out for the good of those who love him. And it might not be what you thought it was.
Sure.
So I wish I could remember his exact line. It's written down in my journal over there, but essentially to set far goals, pray about them, set big goals for yourself, but actually hold the outcome like loosely, as far as like really steer the horse where you want to drive to, but be flexible with the direction the Lord takes you. If he opens and closes doors, that's one thing I've seen in my life personally. I'm sure it's not done. It's like you think that you're going down the electrician train. I always wanted to own a business, so I was planning on, push through electrical, start an electrical company, all that, and then like pivot hard. Then you're all of a sudden in insurance, and pivot again, and now you're doing finances for businesses. And the opportunities the Lord's provided, even in this past like 6 months, I'd say, I'm not sure where the Lord's taking me. I have high goals, aspirational goals. I think you should. Like your goals and your targets, they affect the way that you live your life, right? So setting a goal for yourself that's aspirational, I think, is good because it's going to direct your action. But I'm super open to where the Lord takes me in my life.
Right.
And I think
you're going to walk the steps, and then you'll see where you end up.
Yeah. And there's been doors that have been, I thought I might work at camp at one point, and that door was closed, and that's okay. And the Lord has used the other doors that he opened for his glory. That's something I think I've wrestled with in my past, and maybe if other believers are listening to this, they would have as well. It's like, how can I glorify the Lord doing private business, like for-profit business, instead of ministry? So not everyone's called to ministry, but how can I minister in my business is something that I've wrestled with personally. And there have been times in my life where I thought, I need to go start working in a church and try and plant a church. Or there's been times where I'm like, I need to quit my job and go work at camp. And the Lord has so far steered me towards staying in business and using the relationships I build in business to minister. You have an amazing opportunity to reach people and reach the lost, and not only reach the lost, but show people what it means to be a follower of Christ in how you treat your employees as you build businesses, or how you treat your clients, the relationships you have with them. So
yeah, sometimes business can be a dark place, and you deal with a lot of different people. So you need to bring light there too. I mean, you don't have to be going out and baptizing people every day, literally, but you got to kind of be that influence, be the salt of the earth per se. And because I know I've been frustrated with things, and it's like dealing with people, and things kind of feel unfair, not right, or like, is this the right thing to do? And you just got to stand grounded in Scripture. Make Scripture a light unto your feet and a lamp unto your path, and just do your best and whatever you think, say, do it with all your heart and your soul and your mind and your strength. And then, things have a way of working out that way.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if you've heard of Faith-Driven Entrepreneur before.
I think I have heard of that.
Okay. They have a bunch of free courses that you can take that talk about this topic in particular. So
it's something that it's definitely needed in today's day and age. So thank you for sharing that about Camp Sunshine. I need to check it out too. That's so crazy. So I live south of here off Highway 77 on an acreage, and I drive by this place like every day. And how did I never know this? I think I've heard of it before. I had no idea that it was this magnitude. And so I need to get Jeff, right? That's his name?
Yes.
I have to talk to him. I got to talk to Jeff about that. So you're doing that, and you're becoming this huge business guy someday, Lord willing, maybe. And you, by the way, I'm pretty not really sure what a lot of he said. This guy is sharp as can be. And that's why I need to be around more people like him so I can also grow in knowledge. So I'm glad that I know Lonnie, and I'm glad that I know Dawson, and I hope to meet more of your family someday as well.
yeah, you already got Jeff on the docket. So.
I met Jeff one time too. That was cool too. So you're living out here, you're doing your work, and you have a couple kids, right?
Yes, sir.
And how are they doing? Good.
Yeah, doing well.
You like being a dad? Tell us about being a dad.
Yes, I love being a dad. So this is funny. So 6th grade was my first year at Lincoln Christian. We had a lot of new kids in 6th grade come into Lincoln Christian. So one of the activities that the teacher had us do, we all lined up first by age, what month were you born, like all those classic things. Do the little paper airplane, throw it across the room, like, the break the ice activities. But eventually we went around the room and said, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Okay. Essentially. My answer has always been, as long as I can remember, I want to be a dad and I want to be a business owner. And that came from my dad. So my dad was an amazing father, very intentional. He also owned multiple businesses and somehow managed, I've realized in fatherhood how difficult this is, but somehow managed to both be an intentional and present father and also work 60-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks when it was necessary. Looking back now, I sometimes am confused how that's possible, trying to do it myself. Yeah. But he was very, very much an inspiration to me. So being a dad, I've got 2 kids. I've got a daughter named Jovi. She's 3.
Okay.
And a son named George, who's 1. And I've been married for 7 years.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, you did get married young. That's good. And that's what we need more of. I mean, I think I was listening to some podcasts about just cultural issues and how the rates of fertility are down and people are having kids later. And then, not to get off on a huge tangent about this, but basically the replacement, we're not replacing a population basically, in that we have an aging population, and God does command us to be fruitful and multiply. So there you go. Read your Bible. There you go.
Read your Bible.
A little bit of advice for you. And most people enjoy being fruitful and multiplying, but
praise the Lord.
So, well, that's good. And yeah, now children are a blessing. I hope to have some my day. I grew up with a lot of siblings, kind of. I had a lot of, my parents did foster care, so I had a lot of foster kids in and out and stuff, and and that's why I kind of have a heart for kids as well, because you see, and I had really good parents, but then you also see you see kids that don't have good parents, and you see kids that were not given that opportunity or are in a little more difficult circumstances. And so then you just really want to help those kids. And I had a lot of siblings growing up, and that was good. I enjoyed that. And maybe the person I am today, very great. It really, people kind of ask me why I'm pretty upbeat, pretty optimistic. And it's because I'm really grateful that I grew up with great parents, and I was able to help other people. And it just puts things in perspective that I woke up every day of my life and always had a roof over my head, always had hot water, had everything I ever needed. And so it makes me very happy to be where I am today.
Yeah, it's probably, how do you think? So I was just talking to a friend this morning. I got coffee with a guy. He was telling me about how he's went through some trials recently in his life that have given him the ability to sympathize with people that are going through hard situations. Mm-hmm. That before those trials, he would not have been able to understand what they were going through. Mm-hmm. So how do you think that, you mentioned your dad was a great dad,
Yes.
but you also mentioned the foster care and those siblings that didn't have that maybe for all of their growing up. So is there a way that, in what ways did that experience and those people, those siblings that you got to know, impact who you are? You said positive, but that's likely because you understand trial through these people's experiences.
I think in today's climate, a lot of people are like, well, this and that. They can complain about a lot of things. Then are like, oh, for example, I don't like America, and America's this and that. America's this horrible place to live, and people. And I don't think people realize that most every like American is in like the top 1% of the most healthiest, wealthiest people that have ever been on planet Earth. You have the entire access to all of the knowledge in the world in your pocket, in a phone. You have hot water on command for the most part. And so I've just been thinking about that lately about, hey, for example, I know a friend that was complaining about his parents a whole bunch. He's like, oh, my parents did this and that. And I'm like, I know your parents. And I'm like, you don't understand that I know kids that they didn't know where they were going to sleep tomorrow. They could be sleeping in a whole new bed tomorrow. I could give so many numerous examples. Like, all they had to eat today was gummy bears. That's all their parents gave them, per se. They just didn't have much. And so you don't understand that if you have like a vehicle and you have just anything, you're blessed so much beyond belief. But more importantly, if you do have a mom and dad, first and foremost, that's more than a lot of people have. But if you have a mom and dad like you said, you're talking about, how did my dad work so hard? You do not even know how hard your parents worked to give you the life, that most people don't know. I mean, there's always room to complain, but what I've come to learn is every person that's happy and that's joyous shares one trait, and all people that are constantly pessimistic and unhappy have the opposite trait, and that's gratitude and ungratitude. If you may not have the most of everything, but you make the most out of everything you have. And so it'll never, if you're ungrateful, it'll never be enough. You'll never have enough money. You'll never be happy with this. But if you're grateful, then, you always have enough. You always can be appreciative for what you have, because true wealth is not determined by the money in your pocket, but the amount of love in your heart. Because money comes and goes, but you got to have these relationships forever. People, they pick you up when you need it most. And so I want to do foster care. I want to have foster kids at least a little bit as I come into adulthood. And just because it's definitely a necessity. There's kids that need homes, and you never know how their life can be impacted, I guess. So
yeah, for sure, dude. It's very so you say true wealth is the love in your heart, or
I stole that from somewhere. That's not mine. I probably plagiarized that from something.
Hey, dude, there's no original thoughts.
True, it's just rearranged.
Yeah, everything's just mixed up.
That's funny.
But that made me, I don't know if have you read?
Pull out the book.
I'm sorry.
We're going to the bookshelf, everyone. Live bookshelf.
Okay. Have you read As a Man Thinketh?
Nope.
Okay, dude.
I need to read this.
James Allen. I'm balancing the microphone here. Okay. May I?
I'm ready. I'm locked in.
All right. Sorry.
You guys are seeing this.
Sorry, guys.
By the way, I'm going to drop his social media link too. You guys got to check out these videos. Go ahead.
Okay. So, As a Man Thinketh, the way I would summarize this book, very short, it's an old one. So, there's this idea of a genealogy of ideas. So, you could think about how a family tree looks, right? Mm-hmm. Where we have all the descendants of someone. But as you go up the tree, you're going to see, well, a lot of these descendants come from one set of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like your great-grandparents. You have a lot of extended family from your great-grandparents. Same thing with ideas. So anytime that you read a book that you really like, there's likely many books above that idea that you could trace back, and you could find a really old idea or an old book. A lot of times it's found in Proverbs and Scripture. You'll find, this book, if you followed it, went farther up the genealogy of ideas. Proverbs is there. So this book's about how your thought life controls outcomes in your life. So I'm just going to read So a man is literally what he thinks, his character being the complete sum of all his thoughts. That's the main idea in this book. This little section is about specifically thinking positive thoughts. You can cut this out if it ruins your podcast.
No, this is great. I love this.
So, happiness, health, and prosperity are the result of a harmonious adjustment of the inner with the outer, of the man with his surroundings. So a man only begins to be a man when he ceases to whine and revile and commences to search for the hidden justice which regulates his life. As he adapts his mind to that regulating factor, he ceases to accuse others as the cause of his condition and builds himself up in strong and noble thoughts. He ceases to kick against circumstances, but begins to use them as aids to his more rapid progress and as a means of discovering the hidden powers and possibilities within himself. Man has but to right himself to find that the universe is right. And during the process of putting himself right, he will find that he alters his thoughts towards things and other people, and things and other people will alter towards him. This keeps going on, obviously. And this is what I would see as like the ending thought of this section here, but a particular train of thought persisted in, be it good or bad, cannot fail to produce its results on the character and circumstances of a man. A man cannot directly choose his circumstances, but he can choose his thoughts. And so, indirectly, yet surely, he can shape his circumstances. Like what you said about gratitude just reminded me of that section where it's like, man, two people can be going through the exact same situation, the exact same trouble or the exact same blessing, and have completely different outlooks.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that was... I just think about there were kids that I went to school with, and I was blessed to go to like a private school, and my parents, worked hard to put me there. And I look at some of my colleagues' lives and stuff, and they have plenty to be grateful for, and they just not happy really. And that's because in life, it's not really what happens to you, but it's kind of how you react. It's how you kind of overcome adversity. That was really great. How long have you read the whole book?
Yeah. Okay. So
tell me about the book. How'd you discover it? Who told you?
My dad gave me this. Yeah, we're going back. Dad. I think
it all goes back to the genealogy. It all goes back to Dad.
Yeah, it does go back to that. I think in like 2018 is when he gave me this book.
Yeah.
So I've since main idea, like as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Mm-hmm.
So from scripture. And the book is only like half of this. There's 2 books in this thing. So I've given this book to many people, and I actually have an extra copy there, so I will give one to you when you can take it home. But
this is exciting. I have homework, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, heck yeah. So this is one of those books I'd say like that's pretty far up the genealogy of ideas. So you'll read it, and then it's a like older English, obviously. Mm-hmm. Some of those words are maybe feel a little bit heady, but you might read a modern book about self-improvement or development, and you're going to be like, oh, that idea is from James Allen.
Yeah.
And then same thing like Benjamin Franklin's autobiography. It's super interesting, dude. One of my favorite books from a couple of years ago. And it's just like, you read that and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many modern business and personal like thought ideas that come just from Benjamin Franklin documented them in his autobiography.
Yeah, I've heard things about Benjamin Franklin, and going back to, I talk about America a lot, but basically going back to the founding fathers, basically, and people sometimes in today's day and age have like not very favorable things to say, and I'm like, I always think to myself like, okay, you try to start a country, like you try to do this, you try to move continents, and then like build a government, and so far it's been pretty good. And and this is gonna be a tough question though regarding books. Can you give us a couple books that someone should read? What do the people need to read? I know it's hard to narrow it down.
Okay, well, the book I've given out most is this one.
This one. Okay.
Yeah, As a Man Thinketh. Mostly because I give books to young men that are trying to do ambitious things.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's been a helpful book. Actually, I had somebody ask me this on Instagram a couple days ago, so I actually might have an answer today, which is helpful.
I'm ready.
The like for business.
Okay.
Jocko Willink has Extreme Ownership.
Yep.
I don't know if you've heard of that one.
I've heard that one. Yep.
Okay, heck yeah. So like if you're leading a team, you're responsible for the outcomes of the team.
We talked about the military a lot. I mean, that was a concept that we talked a lot about is extreme ownership. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was something.
that's a really good one. I get a cheat sheet since I have my bookshelf here. So
Right.
all the Alex Hormozy books, he has the $100 million leads, offers, and money models. You read any of those?
I have not.
Okay, worth it. So if
Okay.
you're, again, I'm talking business a little bit. As a dad, there's this book called Point Man that's up here somewhere. That is one of the tops. Dad gave me this in 2018. This one? Okay. You got to read this as a young man. If you like to learn, there's a book called How to Read a Book. Pretty meta.
That's funny.
Pretty meta, but I really liked that book. I love to learn. This book, I'm not going to proofread this, but I'll try and stumble through my cursive writing. So, as the man, you will give an account of the things that happen in your home, including the decisions made for your home. You neglect or reject that responsibility at your own peril. So that's the main thing about this book. You can hear the echoes of extreme ownership in that little phrase, and then also some of them from As a Man Thinketh. Obviously, scripture. Ephesians was really good for me in my first year of marriage. I read that a bunch of times. Obviously, the end of Ephesians talks about husbands and wives' roles, but the entire book is really great as a constant reminder of grace and salvation and the story of the gospel. So that one's really solid.
Classic.
Of course.
Yeah.
You got to mention the Bible.
Paul's letter to the church at Ephesus. There you go. Good one.
That's a pretty good one. Go to the genealogy of ideas. That one's pretty.
It's funny. What book do you recommend? The Bible? Just read it.
It's like ultimate cop out.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know the Bible. There are 66 in there. Well, unless you're Catholic. Anyway, but that's good. That's good. I also like to. We've talked about a lot of great things. I also like to ask about a lighthearted topic too. I like to ask guests just about something kind of fun. Have you eaten at any good restaurants or seen any good TV shows lately? Anything in your spare time?
Well, I made my kids watch the beginning of the documentary series about the American Revolution
Okay.
the other morning. It was super interesting. I realized in about 10 minutes that my daughter is not old enough.
Okay.
But I also have the book. So we've looked through the pictures I've been reading. Gosh, I could send you a picture of the book. I don't have it here, but
Who's the docu-series by? That's like, was that on TV
the
or a movie?
guy. It's like the guy. What's that? The documentary guy.
Which documentary guy?
Burns something.
Oh, Ken Burns.
Ken Burns. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So it's like multiple hour-long episodes about the American Revolution. Pretty awesome. I don't honestly watch that much TV. I did watch
Good.
Top Gun again the other night. I
The
fell asleep
original one?
halfway through. No, actually Maverick.
The newer one? Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I fell asleep after the really dope parts, and I was like,
Yeah.
As far as good restaurants,
No.
I mean Casa Bovina's good, but
You go,
it's
"Oh."
been a while. That's like a once a year thing.
Yeah. That's for the special occasions. Like when you film a podcast. No, I'm just joking.
So we're going after this.
I actually, to be honest with you, I've never eaten there before, but I've driven by it. I know
Well,
what
you
it
do
is.
have an anniversary coming up here eventually, so
I do have an anniversary
that's a
coming
spot.
up. Yep, I need to do that. Actually, today's my half birthday. Maybe I'll go today. Actually, I'm busy
Right.
today. My wife and I were going to a country concert tonight and stuff, so we're busy, but we will do something. We've had a great conversation today. Is there anything that the audience needs to know? Anything else? Or should we just save it for part 2?
Yeah, let's save it for part
We're saving part 2. Well, yeah, this has been a great conversation with the one and only Dawson. He has taught us so much, and we have so much to learn, and we're very grateful for him here at Corn Culture. And by the way, I forgot to give a shout out. Today I'm wearing my Tevin Strong t-shirt for Tevin, who's battling cancer. Tevin, hope you see this. Hope you're battling your cancer well. Thank you. I told you I was going to wear the shirt on the podcast sometime for you. So there you go. Thank you for all the sponsors we had today that we mentioned. Well, anyway, hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And as we say here at Corn Culture, never give up and never give in. Have a great day.